children probably bathe maybe once a week.
Can you talk to him about this?
And when they don't use
Michael's a fourth Japanese. He thinks they have to bathe every day. Can you
one time we had somebody on and they were talking about this, and when the clip went viral and they said we were abusing people, I was like,
oh Lord.
They said something about privilege too. I was like, what? I didn't know how that works.
No, I said that I did delayed bathing with both my kids.
After they were born.
That's because why would you need to why are they dirty?
Talk to us about how you only bathe your kids once a week. I want to know more about that.
Well, first off, I just let my kids do what they want to do. I have 4 children. I'm not going to fight with my kids over little stupid things like bathing.
Agreed.
What's the age gap again?
Almost 10, 7, 5, and 2.
Woo, you're in it.
Yeah.
So you don't make them bathe every day. You'll just do when they want to once a week.
If it's once a week,
right,
like now they swim. We have a pool and they swim in the summer. So I guess we call that bathing. So it's probably even less than that, but no, we tell it like our kids have autonomy over their bodies and their rooms, assuming, and they can make all the choices around that, assuming they're safe.
In the modern world, we like to have our bowl of cereal, don't we? This is a Primal version of your bowl of cereal. I got my testicles in farm fresh milk from Liver King Ranch. The most feared warriors, the Maasai. What they get down on is milk, meat, and blood. And they are expressing a higher, more dominant form. If you still want your Primal cereal to taste like Cocoa Pebbles at the end, put a little bit of whole feast in with your testicles. Make sure you peel back the membrane on the testicle. You can use a spoon if you want, but God gave you the hands for a reason. And go to town.
My dogs 100% raw meat and raw bones.
This is 100% grass-fed ground beef.
Both me and my dogs, we actually share something in common.
We were both designed to eat raw meat.
I'm addicted to eating raw meat. Delicious, man. This steak was fed a little bit of grain, a little bit of corn, so you can taste sort of the sweetness in the steak. It's basically like very squishy in my mouth, and since it's raw, it just kind of slides down your throat. You don't really have to chew it out that much. It's a very good feeling. It's it's borderline euphoric. It can feel like very primal. After I eat it, I get this urge to just kind of like howl like a wolf, just like, My fridge is like a horror movie.
Yes, here is a local raw pastured chicken.
I source my meat from a few different places locally here, local farmers and ranchers.
These are my goat and sheep heads, raw, freshly slaughtered.
At one time, I usually buy anywhere from actually 45 to 90 pounds of beef at a time. And that can last me, like the 45 pounds will last me a month, 90 pounds will last me about 2 months. I spend up to about 175 bucks a week on raw meat. And one day I've eaten up to 3 to 4 pounds of meat.
The real game changer is when people find out that I'm eating raw chicken. This here just looks like a very healthy animal. Smells clean and pure. Almost no scent coming off of it. I mean, that's a sign of a very healthy piece of meat there. You got these plump legs and you got these just beautiful chicken breasts here. In 4 years, I've eaten about 100 raw chickens and I've never been sick once. never met any other raw meat eaters in 4 years that have ever gotten sick from raw chicken.
To a shocking case out of West Virginia where a couple is facing charges after some of their adopted children were found locked in a shed living in deplorable conditions.
Lance and Whitefeather kept motion-activated Arlo cameras on the children, one in the shed on the 14-year-old boy and 16-year-old girl, and one in a room upstairs with no bed, only a tarp floor that stayed on the 9-year-old girl and 11-year-old boy. The video showed a daily routine of waking up early and being forced to stand with hands on head, unable to change or shower, receiving only peanut butter sandwiches to eat before going back to bed on the floor. In the shed, the teens used a camper toilet, holding a sheet up for each other to shield the other from the camera. Lieutenant Pyle said she first began hearing about this in August before the shed discovery, but testified could never quite get a hold of a CPS worker to follow up.
There was a contact made with a worker once, but there was no further contact to coordinate going and making a visit to the residence together.
The jury saw days of video the Arlo camera saved, including the moments deputies busted in the door on the shed on October 2nd.
You're okay.
The children were turned over to Child Protective Services, and when Lance and Whitefeather got back with two of the children that night, they were later arrested. But that was just the beginning of their charges and the investigation. On Friday, the jury got an inside look at Whitefeather's cell phone. This included text messages between she and Lance where they referred to the kids as monkeys and pigs. Often Lance would describe physical punishment where he said he, quote, knocked one of them. We saw one text where Lance said, quote, somebody didn't say thank you, and his sandwiches disappeared. We also saw more video from Whitefeather's phone from their time in Washington that also showed yelling and physical abuse from Lance. A finance expert from the West Virginia Fusion Center, Alyssa Ledbetter, also took the stand on Friday. She broke down the adoption payments Whitefeather and Lance received from Minnesota. She said in total of what they analyzed from 2019 to 2023, the two received about $318,000 in adoption support payments, but she testified this didn't tell the whole story.
Well, the assistance began in June of 2018, and I only had from June of 2019 to November of 2023. So altogether, we're missing about 18 months.
All of this leading up to the most harrowing testimony so far on Friday afternoon from someone who lived it. We were not allowed to film or record the victims who will testify in this case, but were in the room as the teen girl, now 18, but 16 at the time, shared what her life was like both in Washington State and in Sissonville. She said life progressively got worse with Whitefeather and Lance once they moved to the ranch in Washington in 2019. This is when the outdoor labor began, she said, and the physical punishments that included hits from a PVC pipe. While under a child services investigation there in Washington, eventually they moved to Sissonville, but she did not know why. She talked about how CBS was called soon after they arrived in West Virginia, and she detailed a visit from a worker who stayed on the porch and talked to them through the screen door. The teen testified she was not honest with CPS because Lance could hear her from where she was standing. Eventually, she and her teen brother, who has several mental health disorders, were locked in a shed in August of 2023. She said she went without a shower for 2 months and never changed clothes. She went from sleeping on a mattress to the floor with a sleeping bag. Her brother slept on the concrete floor with only cardboard at his head. She said she was forced to be his babysitter, but testified he was never the dangerous, violent kid that Lance and Whitefeather made him out to be. She recalled the use of physical violence, pepper spray, and racial slurs from Lance and Whitefeather. She recalled also being scared when police arrived at the shed, worried that she would say something to upset Whitefeather. Some of her more emotional moments came during cross-examination by Whitefeather's attorney, Mark Plants. At one point, he referred to Whitefeather as her mother, and she quickly corrected corrected him. He questioned why some of her interviews before this contradicted what she said on the stand, but when Tuck asked her why she felt comfortable telling the truth now, she said, "Because I know I won't have to go back to that."
God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not.
Is it just me, or does anyone else like share beverages with their dog? This is coconut water. No, you can't do that. But like, is that gross? Also has like a very clean mouth. Like he doesn't eat poop or anything like that. And so it's like, I don't feel weird drinking. I also eat off the same fork as him sometimes. Like sometimes I'll feed him whatever I'm eating, if it's okay for him to eat, off of my fork, and then I'll just like keep eating with my fork. Like, is that weird? Is that disgusting? Like, I need someone to like clock me right now.
On ABC 13, we start this story with a warning. The details are graphic and disturbing. An investigation into a spring man for multiple sex crimes against children led to the additional arrest and charges against his wife.
And truly unbelievable here. She's now accused of engaging in sexual acts with a family dog. Liliana Pearson is live outside Montgomery County Constable Office, Precinct 3. And Liliana, this case really is just gripping our entire community.
It is, and I've covered very many sad and horrifying stories in my career, but it's been quite some time since a case has truly shocked me in the way that this one has. Parents, one of them a veteran, the other a nurse, known for their affinity with animals.
I used to call them pet detective.
A neighborly joke that now feels darker.
I don't even want to think about what transpired.
According to law enforcement, on March 13th, William, with no previous criminal history, was arrested after a bystander noticed he was following two young children around this spring HEB, touching himself.
Just the fact that he was in the area performing that act.
Montgomery County constables with Precinct 3 arrested him, slapping him with an indecent exposure charge.
It's really frustrated and angered a lot of the residents.
The arrest led to an investigation, led to William's phone being confiscated, led to the discovery of images of children being sexually assaulted, and something else.
And I'm like, holy crap.
Video of Keen's wife, willingly engaging in multiple sexual acts with the family's Great Dane.
It's not normal.
Neighbor Anthony Williams captured this video from the 27th.
Oh, they are raiding this man's house.
Showing law enforcement arresting the Keens, removing 3 dogs and their 2 children.
You don't know what type of environment they were exposed to on a regular basis. Maybe they weren't exposed to, maybe they were exposed to tons of things, but
neighbors now hoping the peace they once assumed they had will be returned to this spring suburb. And we're told that CPS was alerted, though we were not able to learn if CPS is still in possession of the Keen's 2 children or if those children have been released to family members at this time. Right now, both the Keens still in jail facing felony charges. William for indecency with a child and possession of child pornography. Jolie for bestiality.
Hello and welcome to Animal Watch, and this week we're meeting the wolves of Norway.
So today I'm visiting Polar Park in the Arctic Circle, where a pack of Norwegian wolves live in peace in a perfect, untouched wilderness. Ambassadors for the true nature of the wolf. Timid, gentle, and certainly not the man-eaters humans have labelled them as over the centuries. As I enter the wolves' territory, I am so excited. I crouched down and made sure to keep my energy calm. It's important to greet a wolf openly so they can learn everything about you and trust you. This means keeping low, so you are less frightening, while placing a strong foot on the ground to prevent yourself from being knocked down, as they are very powerful and will insist on being acknowledged. When wolves greet, they will want to lick inside your mouth. This is perfectly normal for them, and this is what they do to one another on a daily basis. If you can tolerate it, you should allow this, as they will trust you more and can learn everything about you as a person, which includes your body chemistry, if you are sick or well, what you have eaten, and also if you are kind and non-threatening to them. Body movements should be calm and fluid. Sharp movements will frighten and shock them, making you look threatening. So gently, gently is the answer. This is why women are often more readily accepted by wolves than men, as men naturally exhibit heavier movements, have a taller stature, and a deeper voice. The leading female Marat was very insistent on licking the inside of my mouth for affirmation, so I allowed her to, all the while acknowledging the strict pack order. There were lower-ranking wolves, and it was important to make sure I greeted the wolves in order of ranking, and make sure to ignore the lower wolves when the leaders approached, which is a little sad, but safer for them, as it means they will be told off far less. Despite Marat being the leading female, Braga, the large male, was indeed top of the pack, and he had decided that my ear and tummy tickles should be just for him, and was not slow in coming forward with his snarls and piercing stares at Marat to let her know that he wasn't happy that she was commanding my attention.
Have you ever cheated before?
Not with another human.
What do you mean?
I cheated on my boyfriend with his dog. It was a golden retriever.
I mean, how did your boyfriend find out?
He opened the door and I was in the doggy position with his doggy.